development socially and educationally as well. Next, we're focusing on daily occasional supply teaching. These are qualified teachers. You've completed Teachers College, you hold a valid membership with the College of Teachers, and you would be called to generally stand in working from established lesson plans that are usually left for you for the day when the regular teacher is absent. In the event that we are not able to find a qualified substitute teacher, we also have a group of classroom and student supervisors. Now, these are people who are interested in teaching and classroom management. And in the event that it is required to cover a classroom for the day, you could receive a phone call asking you to come in and create a safe, enjoyable environment where students learn for the day. Supply secretaries are generally in the front office of the schools, interacting with everyone in the school, as well as the students, parents, visitors, other staff members, doing attendance for students, a very busy and important job in the front office. As well, we have student supervisors. Now, this is sometimes confused with our other roles, but this is for monitoring and supervising the meal breaks. So this is covering off the nutritional periods, both inside the school and also outside on the play yard. These are generally much shorter shifts of maybe 45 minutes to an hour at a time, and might be a good addition for some of you who are looking for additional categories. If you saw a role on here that you think you might be interested in, please contact Bobby if you are interested in expanding your supply roles for additional opportunities. So next, I want to get into some expectations for all roles. So every role will have its own job description and responsibilities, but across all positions, there are some standard expectations we wanted to convey today. And a lot of these have been communicated just recently from our director, Michael Glazier. So first of all, speaks to our dress code. So one of the first instructions is to dress appropriately for the role that you're doing. So there's been a recent memo for professional attire discussing that we have either a business casual or a smart casual dress code. Ultimately, we would like our staff to keep a professional image and be a positive role model for students. Clothing should be clean, maintained in good condition, and appearance should be neat, clean, and well-groomed. Also, please consider that you need to be safe and comfortable for the duties of your job. So I want you to consider things like footwear if you're going to be running after students, or if you're going to be out on the playground, outerwear in the colder months. Perhaps it's going to be a rainy day and you'll have a yard duty. So consider that as you're coming to work in the morning and dress for the role that you'll be performing. Some clothing that may not be acceptable in the workplace is also outlined here because sometimes you're unsure. The general rule is if you're not sure, please consult with your principal or HR before wearing it, but we want to avoid anything overly casual. If you have a hoodie pulled up over your head that doesn't seem appropriate for work, revealing clothing, something again very casual like flip-flops would be discouraged. So those are just some examples to give you a guideline. The next expectation that we're covering is to please arrive early for your shift. The start of your shift time in SmartFind is the time that you're expected to be in your classroom, ready to begin. So make sure you give yourself time to find parking at the school, enter and report to the main office. And this is on each day of your assignment. So even if you're on a 2 or 3 day assignment, please always report through the main office so that they're aware you've arrived, receive instruction for your assignment for the day, any plans, any attendance information, any kind of safety details you need to be aware of. You'll have time to find your classroom and potentially be introduced to the classroom partners or students that you're working with. So again, please be prepared to begin at your shift time. So if you've accepted a shift through SmartFind, it is the expectation that you're able to start at the start time and work until the finish time.
Jennifer, going back to the dress wear, we have a question in the chat. Are jeans acceptable, or is that more suited for Friday dress down days?
Generally more suited for a Friday dress down day. So again, business casual or smart casual, you can usually find examples of that. And again, if unsure, please check. Your school may have particular activities going on a day, and there should be some guidance for that as well if it's going to impact your duties. So moving on to our next slide.
Do all schools have Friday dress down days?
I'm unsure.
I'm unsure of that portion too.
I'm unsure of that answer. So again, please don't assume that there is a dress down day unless it may be communicated to you, and you could always check with the school in advance if you are questioning that. Ready to move?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a question about, can the teachers note if they have a duty in the AM or PM? Some list it, but it's not listed all the time. So in SmartFind, I don't know if Kim wants to talk about SmartFind, but it's up to the teacher and what they put for the supply notes. And we can ask them to do that, but it's not always a case where they're going to indicate if there's duty or not. I would just anticipate that there is most likely going to be duty.
Okay. So I think our general rule then is to please be prepared for the potential of a duty. We'll ask if teachers can put that into their notation when they are absent, but I can't promise that it will be 100% always listed if there is a duty. Okay, so I'd like to move on to expectations surrounding cell phones and personal electronic devices, because this is something that has been revealed in a new provincial code of conduct just this year. And again, discussed by Mike Glazier in one of his communications to all staff just recently. So please be aware that the provincial code addresses specifically the use of cell phones and electronic devices in schools by everyone, including students, staff, parents, visitors, and volunteers. Some of those rules also vary by age group of the students themselves. So what we communicate at Wellington Catholic to our supply group is that cell phones should be off during instructional time unless they are being used for work purposes and authorized by the classroom teacher. Just also a note that social media is not available on Wellington Catholic internet networks. So we appreciate that you help to coordinate to minimize distractions, to focus on helping students learn, and understanding that, again, you will be held to these responsibilities as a staff member, but also we have to help enforce those for the students. And also, I'd like to just briefly touch on expectations for smoking and vaping, which is also part of the provincial code of conduct. It's very strictly not allowed on school property. So no vaping or use of tobacco on school property. So if there are no further questions, I'll pass it.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kim Matheson. I am the HR clerk and your contact for SmartFind. Any questions that you have, just easiest way to get a hold of me is through email, just because my mornings are quite busy. So I'm just going to touch a bit on some basics of SmartFind, and then I'll give you a couple of instructions about some of the more important pieces to note when we're doing SmartFind. Thanks, Julia. So SmartFind Express, which is SFE for short, is our employee absence and supply dispatch software. So this is where employees enter their absences, short-term and long-term. This is also how we fill all of the absences with supply staff. And once a week, all of the information in SmartFind is uploaded into our payroll system. Some SmartFind basics for you. First and most importantly, I'm sure all of you have done this. We might have some new people on here that have not yet, but you need to make sure your SmartFind account is registered. You won't be able to accept any jobs if you're not registered. So the instructions on how to do this are in the welcome email attachment that you received when you started with the board. Once you're registered, you can go into your SmartFind account and double check that your schedule and your locations are correct. If you see anything that needs to be changed, just send an email to myself or the HR clerk, whoever that may be, but currently it's me. Next, be sure to mark yourself as unavailable for any days that you cannot work. So this is different than your schedule. Your unavailability are the temporary days that you can't work. So for illness or appointments, etc. So you want to double check your account weekly to make sure that all of the jobs you have worked are listed in your SmartFind calendar. School admin approved the jobs at the end of the week, so the best bet is to go in each Monday and double check that the jobs are there for the previous week. If you do see any errors, send me an email and the principal of the school, and we can correct it as soon as possible.
Question about the district code. What is the district code?
The district code, do you want to put this in the chat?
Yes.
Is FFTR.
Okay, perfect.
You can also find that when you log into your SmartFind, there's a button on the top right corner that says register for mobile app, and that will send you the district code. So when you register for SmartFind, this is the number you call. You need your user ID and your PIN, which it was sent in your welcome email. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Okay, so I'm just going to go through some basics as just a quick refresher for everyone and lesson, I guess, for new people. There's 4 spots in your SmartFind profile that you should be checking. Your schedule, the locations, your notifications. So that's if you want to get phone calls or text messages, and the auto accept feature, which we'll go through in a minute. So your SmartFind locations, schedule and locations. So your schedule is the days that you are normally able to work. So if you're able to work Tuesday to Friday, that is your schedule. Your unavailability dates are temporary, like I said before. So if your schedule is Tuesday to Friday and you're not able to work on a random Thursday, you would enter that as an unavailable date rather than changing your whole schedule. So it doesn't change based on illness or other irregular commitments. Your locations are any schools that you're able to work at. So that's in the city and in the county. If you see anything that needs to be changed on either of these settings, please just email me and I can update that for you. Your SmartFind notifications. So there are 3 ways to be notified of available jobs. So during the call out times, which for Wellington Catholic, that's evenings from 4:30 to 9:45 and mornings starting at 6:10, there are 3 ways that you can choose to be notified of available jobs. So the first is through a phone call, and the system will call your phone. You have to answer the call, enter your user ID number and your PIN, and then it will give you the information about the job and ask you to press a number to accept or decline the job. If the job is assigned to you, you'll receive an email confirmation. So please double check your email to make sure that that job is assigned to you. The second is through text message. So this goes straight to your phone and you can easily and quickly respond to the job offer without having to enter your user ID or PIN. You will receive a text that has a job ID number and you need to enter Y to confirm and then space and then the job ID number that is sent in the text message. So if the job has been assigned to you, you'll get a quick response through the text as well as an email confirmation. The third way is through the SmartFind app. So you'll get a notification on your phone that there's a job and you can go into the app and press accept to accept the job. You will receive an email confirmation that the job is yours again. So all 3 of these, you will receive email confirmation. So if you're unsure if you've accepted the job, please check your email and you will see that the job is there, or if it's not there, then that job is not yours yet. One thing to note about all 3 of these is that they're all used in the fair and equal call out system. So the system uses each employee's preferred contact method as it moves through the list. It doesn't go one method at a time. So it doesn't do all phone calls, then all texts. So it's the fair and equal call out allows everyone to choose the method they want without any discrimination based on your method. You'll still get the jobs. The next thing I want to talk about is auto accept. So this is a feature that we have that allows you to receive supply jobs without having to actually respond to a text or a phone call. So once this is turned on in your profile, the system will still go through the regular call out process. But once it gets to you, if the job is available and you have auto accept turned on for this job, specific job and location, it will add the job to your calendar without calling and texting you. You'll still receive an email confirmation of the job. So it's very important to note that if you turn on auto accept, you have to remember that every morning you won't be getting a notification on your phone that a job has come in. So it's really, really important that you are checking your SmartFind calendar each morning by 7 a.m. to see if any jobs have been added. So we do have a very strict policy around this because it is very chaotic in the schools in the mornings for someone to not show up at the last minute. There are a few different settings you can use based on your comfort level. The earliest setting is 12 hours before a job starts. So if you choose to have auto accept turned on, you can set it so that 12 hours prior to the job starting, the job will be accepted into your calendar. So this means that if the job starts at 9 a.m., the system will auto accept up to 9 p.m. the night before. So this is why it's so important to check your calendar in the morning so you don't miss any jobs.
Before you move on, can I ask two questions that are in the chat? How do we register for text notifications? And then the other question is, can a person choose to use more than one method for SFE notifications?
So I'll answer the first question first, or the second question first. You can only have one method for notifications. However, in the SFE FAQ, I do explain the difference between the app and the texting. So if you choose texting, you'll only receive texts. If you choose calls, you'll only receive calls. And then the app is a separate thing I'll talk about.
And then you can change that.
You can change it anytime you want.
Okay.
And then I believe I do talk about how to set up the texting. No, I can't, I'm not sure if I did or not. So to set up the texting, you do have to go into, oh, I think I did. You do have to go into your profile and set up the mobile number and mobile provider, and then we'll turn on all the text options. So everybody automatically is set up to receive text messages. You just have to make sure that your system is set up, and I can send out an email. All right, we can do a link maybe afterwards to, or in the chat to show that one.
Okay, I'll make note of that.
Okay.
And then the other question is auto accept options, can they be specific for specific locations that they want, or is that for any location on their profile?
So it can be for specific locations and specific positions within that location. So you can customize it to exactly what you want to accept. If you have a school where you'd like to work at the school, but you only want to auto accept cert positions, then you could set it to only auto accept the cert positions and text or call for all the other positions.
And are you at a disadvantage if you don't set up auto accept?
Not really at a disadvantage. It just makes it easier to get the jobs. The jobs are still offered. They don't go in any other order than the fair and equal call out. So the jobs are still offered to those on the list in order, but if you have auto accept, you don't have to worry about remembering your PIN and entering the numbers or anything. It just goes straight to your calendar.
And you can specify which schools to auto accept based on your location if some locations are too far to commute.
Yeah, you can specify everything.
And for auto accept, it's incredibly important to remember to be putting your unavailable dates in.
Yes. Like I said, just make sure that if you're going to turn on auto accept, you have to be extremely diligent with watching your SmartFind calendar. Because like Deb said, if you have unavailability dates and you don't enter those and you have auto accept turned on, you will be receiving those jobs because the system sees that you're available and gives you that job. So make sure that you're checking every morning by 7 o'clock to see if you have jobs for that day. Good.
Wonderful.
Good.
Is
Okay,
it-
those are all the questions right now.
Is it currently turned on for the people that it was
It is
provided?
turned off for everyone. So auto accept is currently turned off for everyone. If you want to turn it on, you can turn it on. You just have to go into your SmartFind profile and there's a button that you turn
Enable
on.
it.
Yeah, and just enable it. It's at the bottom of your profile.
So even if you had your auto accept on last year, we have turned it off because there was a number of people that we were concerned that they weren't remembering that auto accept is on. So it's been turned off, but it can very easily be turned back on. So if it was something that you found beneficial last year, we encourage you to go back in and turn it on.
Yeah.
And then if you choose the text option, how long do you have to respond before the job is offered to someone else?
So I do have that in the FAQs, so I will touch on that in a couple minutes.
And then is there a document where we can find details about the steps followed for fair and equal call-out system?
It's touched in the FAQ document.
Okay, so it's touched in the FAQ. Sorry, there's lots of questions, which is
Yeah.
wonderful.
No,
and
that's
we
okay.
definitely appreciate it. Is it possible to cancel a job that has been auto-accepted or one that you have accepted but realize that you can't fulfill due to an unexpected circumstance?
Yeah, I do touch on that in FAQ as well.
So yes, you can
Yeah.
cancel your job.
Cancel your jobs. Yeah. Okay, some SmartFind hot topics I wanted to go over. First one, canceling jobs. So if you need to cancel a job for any reason, please make sure you do this as soon as possible. We discourage cancellations after 8 a.m. However, we know this is not always possible. So we just ask that if you do need to cancel a job after 8 a.m., that you message myself and the principal of the school to let us know so we can try and make other arrangements last minute. One thing to note about cancellations, there is a feature in your SmartFind account that lets you mark yourself as unavailable for the day. So your unavailability date. This does not cancel your job. So if you are put into a job, either auto accept or a text message has come in and you've accepted it and didn't realize you were not able to work. If you mark yourself as unavailable, you are still attached to that job and the school will still be expecting you to show up. So if you do that, please make sure that you go, if you need to cancel, please make sure you go into the job itself and cancel out of the job using the cancel button. Then you can go and mark yourself as unavailable, which will make it so that you don't get any more calls and any more auto accepts for that day. So the next hot topic is updating your unavailabilities. So if you are not able to work on specific dates, you need to enter this into the system ahead of time. So this will do two things. It will stop the supply calls from coming to you for that day. And it will give us the ability to fill the jobs quickly based on who is available. When you don't use this feature and ignore the phone calls and texts, it takes that much longer for the system to do its job as it's calling supplies were not available. And it slows everything down. And it's probably quite annoying for you guys to get texts and phone calls when you can't work. So the unavailability button is on the top right of your SmartFind screen on your desktop. The next hot topic is the difference between the app and text notifications. And phone calls, actually, I'll add that in. So if you have the app installed, you'll still get a text or a phone call for jobs, unless you have auto accept, and that's different. So the app is where you'll be able to see all of the jobs that have already been offered to you. So we talk about job shopping sometimes. Job shopping for Wellington Catholic means that in the app, you will be able to see all of the jobs that you have been offered, not all of the jobs that are available through the board for that day. So once it has been offered to you, they will show up in the app. And if they are still available, you can accept them. However, sometimes what happens is because there are others that have been offered the job before you, you may get a notification in the app that there is a job available. And when you choose accept, it says the job is no longer available. That's not a glitch. It's just because someone before you has gone in and accepted that while it was being offered to you. Sometimes jobs are picked up quite quickly. So you may have an offer come in, but someone offered before you accepts it as you're being offered. The last hot topic is supply times. So if you are a supply teacher or a classroom and student supervisor, your supply times match those of the school times. So for example, 8:50 to 3:20 would be the teaching time. as the bell rings at 8:50 and rings again at 3:20 for dismissal. So this means that you need to be ready to teach at 8:50 and you stay in the school until 3:20. If you're an EA or an ECE, your supply times will be different based on the school you're attending. So please make sure to double check the times in your SmartFind calendar before your job, so you have time to arrive at the school and check in with the office before you need to be in class or with a student.
We have a question about auto accepts.
Yeah.
Can you specify auto accepts for only full days versus half days, or it would be all or none?
I'm pretty sure it's just full days. Yeah, I don't think you can specify.
No, I don't think it's specified, so I think it could be a full or a half day.
Yeah, I think it's just, yeah, it's just a location or a classification.
Are we allowed to leave at break to get lunch? Quite the question. So
Yeah, I'm not sure of that.
I think that's
answer,
something that you should probably check with the school.
but I think that would be a school question. I think they would all have a different answer. Okay, couple of SmartFind FAQs. First one, how do I accept jobs? I don't know if you guys can see this. Oh yeah, it's not bad. Okay, how do I accept jobs? Through text with a Y and the job ID, through phone calls with the username and PIN, and through the app with the accept button. And remember that the app will only have jobs that have already been offered to you through a phone call or text. It's just a little bit quicker to use. How long do I have to accept job through the app or text? The jobs are usually picked up quite quickly, so you're going to want to accept as soon as possible when it comes through. Sometimes it's a few minutes, sometimes it's a few seconds. It literally depends on who before you has been offered and has decided to accept. Next question, I get text messages, but when I try to accept, it says the job is not available anymore. This means, like I just said, it just means that someone before you was offered the job and has picked it up while it was being offered to you. How do I cancel jobs? You need to log into your SmartFind profile on a desktop, go into the job and choose the cancel button. Please try not to cancel after 8 a.m. if possible. I believe you can go into the app and cancel, but I have not been in there this year to double check. How do I change my locations? Anything in your profile that you need to change or you have questions about, please just email me and I can take a look at that with you. My job isn't showing up in my profile as complete. Why not? So jobs are only completed once the admin at the school completes it and verifies it and finalizes it. So if you've worked a job and it's not showing as completed in your profile, it means that the principal of the school has not finalized the jobs and you just need to wait until Monday morning around 10. If it's still not showing, that's when you would reach out to me and the principal of the school and we can sort it. Last question is the phone system says that my username and PIN are incorrect. So with SmartFind, your username will never change. It is always the same. Your PIN is a 6-digit number that you choose when you log in for the first time. So please keep it somewhere safe. And if you need to reset the password, please email me.
And so where in SmartFind do you indicate how you want to accept jobs?
So in your SmartFind profile, it's in the notifications section. So you need to go into your initials, your circle initials on the top right-hand corner and go into your settings. And from there, you can see notifications along the top. And that's where you will change it. So you can just have phone calls or you can scroll down and enter your mobile information and get text messages.
It's important to note that the default is phone calls. So when you're a new employee, it defaults to the phone calls. And if you want to update it to one of the other methods, that's where you have to go in and change it in your settings.
Yeah, so the app, you can just, that's in addition to, whereas you can either get a phone call or a text.
And Marilyn Stewart had a good point. Reminder to all new supply EAs that a full day for an EA supply is 6 hours. You are there 6.5 hours because the lunch is unpaid. SFE is not allowing input into unavailable dates and times. I would email Kim and just let her know so that she can look into that. What is the total number of hours that supply teachers work per day? Well, you're generally there 8:50 to 3:20 or the bell times. It is recommended in the Education Act that you show up 15 minutes prior to the bell. So it's about 5.5 hours plus that. Just want to confirm the contact person at the board for SFE is Kim. Yes, Kim Matheson.
And my email's in the chat somewhere, Julia.
Yes, I can keep adding too. It's not, I think, just so that everybody is aware it's Kim Matheson. I don't have a circle and initials. Does that mean I'm not signed up correct?
I would have to check that.
I would recommend emailing Kim.
I'm going to take over for a bit. So my name's Deb Miller. I'm a member of the HR team here at Wellington Catholic. I'm going to have some various topics that we'll kind of just do as a review. The first one is your Wellington Catholic District School Board email address. So this is assigned to every employee here at Wellington Catholic, and it's our official means used for all communication. So it's important to check your email regularly, even during the summer months, because important updates, your pay stubs, your T4s, everything is sent this way. Please remember to keep your password safe and never share it with anyone. To access your email, if you go up to the Wellington Catholic District School Board and you go through the My Wellington Staff Portal, at the top, at the left there, you'll see 9 little dots. It's our SharePoint. When you click on that, you'll see access to Outlook, and you should be automatically single sign-on brought into the email address. Sometimes the first time you may have to put your email address and password in, but after that, you should be logging in automatically. For security reasons, everyone is required to change their password every 90 days. Most of the time, 15 days before your password expires, you'll receive an email reminder. I encourage you to change your password early, especially before the summer, so that you don't risk being locked out of your account. That being noted, even if you're past your 90 days, some applications still allow you to access it because you're logged in. The issues become when you go to log into something new. For example, to do your annual offense declaration, it requires your actual email and password each time, and you will get locked out of it there. So IT does do a very good job of trying to remind you 15 days ahead of time, but I would personally put it in your calendar to remind yourself as well, just in case. So we have these security measures in place to protect against phishing and hacking attempts, which are very real risks. So if an email account is compromised, it could impact your payroll, student information, and even personal details. So that's why it's so important that staff remain proactive and careful. You are our first line of defense. So again, please change your password every 90 days, keep it safe and secure, never tell anyone what it is. That's just the takeaway there. If you are looking for how to change your password, if you go onto our My Wellington website, under the Dropbox of our board, you'll see another tab or a line called Staff Support. If you click on that, it actually shows you how to change your password and gives you the link for doing that. Here are some of the My Wellington staff applications that you can find on the My Wellington staff portal. So as Kim was just speaking about, we have the SmartFind Express. We also have SDS eServe that I want to draw your attention to. This is where you would update your personal information and also where you complete your annual offense declaration. That being said, if you have not completed your annual offense declaration, today would be a wonderful day to do that. Else you will not be able to accept jobs in SmartFind. That's today. Your health and safety training completed today, hopefully, or within the next couple of days, is accessed through the Safe Schools training, which is the third icon there at the bottom. So just to touch base about the annual offense declaration, once again, so when you are hired, you are required as a condition of employment to submit a vulnerable sector check. Each of you have done that. Each year after you complete, like that you work with us, you're required to complete an annual offense declaration. There's an email that has been sent to your Wellington Catholic District School Board assigned email address in May, I believe, with instructions on how to complete it. You complete your AOD using SDS eServe. And as mentioned earlier, unfortunately, if you do not complete that, you will no longer be able to continue to work with us. Another thing that happens quite often is that we get requests for employment letters. These are requested generally from banks or mortgage companies that are looking to verify your income. So if you ever have that happen, we ask, there's a form that needs to be filled out on the My Wellington staff portal. So it's actually found under the HR part of it. It's called Employment Verification Request Form. Please note that we do our best to try to do these letters as quickly as possible, but depending on the time of year and our current workloads, it may take up to 5 business days to complete. Once the letter is completed, you will be emailed a PDF to your Wellington Catholic District School Board email address. Leaves of absences. So if you require more than 20 working days off, you are required to apply for a leave of absence. Under the portal, under HR, again, you'll see another tab that's called Leave of Absence Request. And here is another form that you need to fill out. At the end of it, you press Submit. And remember to mark yourself as unavailable for the time frame that you're not available in SmartFind Express. Resignations. So if you're no longer interested in working in a specific position or on our supply list in general, please let us know. So again, on the My Wellington staff portal, under HR, you will see another tab that's called Resignation for Supply Staff. And here you answer a few questions and press Submit. A few years ago, we moved away from timesheets for most of our departments or classifications, but there are still a few that are using timesheets. One of them is lunchtime supervisors. But if there is also any opportunities that you're working for training or pretty much just actually training, I'm thinking like EMS training that you've worked beyond what's in your SmartFind calendar, that's when you would need to submit a timesheet. That's usually pretty much communicated from us that you need to do it if you're going to attend something. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But just as a reminder, if you do have a timesheet, email it to timesheet@wellington.cds.ca, or you can deliver it in person to our board office.
And you might need a timesheet possibly if you're a tutor.
Yeah.
After school, and that would be communicated to you through Jennifer, Deb, and myself.
ILP?
Own person.
Okay. So it's very, very limited. Just as a reminder, the pay schedules. We get a lot of questions around this, especially when people are new. So on the My Wellington staff portal under HR, you'll see a tab called Employee Information. When you click that, you'll see all the different employee groups. Within each of these folders is contained a pay schedule. So just as a reminder to pay special attention to the pay period. That's the period in time in which you work that you will be paid for. And then the pay date. So the pay date corresponds to the pay period. That can be different in different classifications as well. So it is important for you to take a look at that. Pay stubs.
Sorry, Bobby, for anyone who hasn't completed their annual events declaration, are you able to send out a brand new email indicating that they haven't done it and what the link would be? I think that if it's not completed.
I can add that, the how to complete AOD in another email. Yep, I'll be running a report today.
The other thing about it is if you log into eServe and you'll see personal information as well as annual offense declaration. If the annual offense declaration button is missing, that means you have completed it and you're all up to speed.
Yeah. And Samantha has a question. Would the employment letter process be the same when requesting completed hours / current position that are required for a college application? If that is the case, you can always send Deb or I a message. If you're applying for Teachers College, we would love to support that process with you.
And I believe the ECE program's asking for it now too. So yeah, that's a little bit different. So just do a direct email to either Julia or I. Okay, pay stubs. So those are emailed to your Wellington Catholic District School Board email address. It's sent as an attachment that you need to download. It requires a numerical password that is given by the payroll department. So if you are brand new or you have never been given that pay stub code, simply reply to the email address that has sent you the pay stub and just ask them for your pay stub password. That's going to be different for everybody, depending on who's paying you.
And how do I update my pre-op information for auto deposit?
So that's a great question. You can actually send that question through to hrgeneral@wellingtoncdsb.ca. That's an email address that we created, I believe, last year that all of us have access to, and one of us will get back to you with the instructions on how to do that.
So just wanted to clarify for student supervisors, lunchtime and recess, when it comes to the health and safety training in today's training, do you make a timesheet for that as well?
Yes.
And then where do you find the pay schedules? That should all be on My Wellington.
Yeah, so on the My Wellington staff portal, under HR, under employee information, you'll see a listing of all the different supply groups. Find the correct one that you're working in, and that's where the pay schedule will be.
And would our username for eServe be our full Wellington Catholic District email?
No, it's
First name dot last name.
okay. So we just spoke a lot about the My Wellington staff portal. So I just wanted to remind you where it is, just in case you're brand new or if you haven't had an opportunity to look. So this is our website. So you'll see at the top where the arrow is My Wellington staff. So you should be automatically logged in through the single sign-on process. However, that being said, the first time you probably will be prompted to enter your email address and password. There's lots of very good things on there. So I would definitely take a look and see. We'll go through a few of them. One of my recommendations is if you come across something that you're interested in, for instance, we do have some job posting folders as well as our job posting board. You can sign up for alerts. So there's 3 dots there that will allow you to go through a process of being alerted anytime there's a change to that folder. And that brings us to a brand new face.
Great.
So I will let her introduce herself to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Mazza, and like many of you, I am very new to the Wellington Catholic District School Board. I started last week, and I will be your health and safety coordinator, taking over for Allison, and the point of contact for all health and safety related inquiries and concerns. However, under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, your principal, vice principal, or the teacher in charge of the school that you will be working at is considered your supervisor and your immediate point of contact for all health and safety related inquiries and concerns. If ever you're injured at work, you must immediately report this injury to that individual. So the principal, vice principal, or teacher in charge, no matter how insignificant you think the injury is, it needs to be reported if it happens at work. So additionally, if you have any other health and safety related inquiries, all of our health and safety related information, procedures, and policies can be found under our board in the Wellington Catholic District School Board portal, following the link. And then, as I mentioned, you need to review and complete all of your health and safety related training after this training, of course, as soon as possible. If you haven't already, you'll be receiving a memo from Brian Capavilla, and this memo titled HR 2606 discusses the notification of the risk of workplace violence and what to do in the event of an incident of workplace violence. Make sure you're very familiar with that procedure to prepare yourself before you begin work. Also, there is going to be a binder available in the main office for all occasional staff. So you need to make sure that you're familiar with this binder and all of its contents. In the binder, there will be emergency response procedures specific to the school that you're attending, and you need to ensure that you are well versed on all of the information in the emergency response plan should there be an emergency. So again, just as a reminder, the binder will be at your main office. And if you have any, again, health and safety related inquiries, you need to report that to your supervisor, which is the principal, vice principal, or teacher in charge of the school. So I mentioned the training, and you need to complete the health and safety training assigned to you as soon as possible, ideally today. Following all the presentations, you need to log into the health and safety training under the My Wellington staff portal. And if there's any other additional optional training that you're interested in, not required, you can definitely complete that. So that is basically it.
Perfect. That's awesome. And
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're going to move on to Julia Veteretto.
Awesome. So I'll just get maybe Kim to monitor the chats. There's been so many amazing questions, so thank you for that. And if we haven't gotten to your question today, definitely you can send an email to us so that we make sure that everybody's questions are answered. So hi, I'm Julia Veteretto. I'm the HR supervisor and wanted to welcome everyone today and just reiterate that your role at Wellington Catholic matters. You are important, and even if you're only with class for one day, you influence student safety, learning, and well-being in a meaningful way. We'll cover some strategies to help you connect with students, keep the day running smoothly, and know who you can go to for some help and support. We'll also share ideas with each other because your experiences are valuable and can help others as they navigate being in the classroom. So some of you are retired teachers, have been in the classroom for many, many years, and can possibly support the new supply staff that are joining Wellington Catholic. So in terms of the slide too, we're going to get into positive connections and respectful corrections. So it's nice to connect with those students when you're in there for the day. Learning and using names, even just a few, shows students that you see them as individuals and not just a group. Eye contact and moving around the room help keep students engaged without needing constant verbal reminders. When correcting behavior, keep it private if possible. Public corrections can embarrass students and damage trust. Instead of saying, stop talking, you can try to say, let's focus back on the lesson. This redirects without confrontation. Your body language matters. Stop standing beside a student rather than towering over them can de-escalate a tense situation. So you can lean to their level, avoid sarcasm and rolling your eyes. These can shut down a student's willingness to cooperate. First impressions definitely set the tone for the whole day. A warm greeting like good morning, I'm Mrs. Smith, I'll be with you today, makes students feel acknowledged and respected. If you can stand at the door as students arrive. This helps you scan for any early concerns and signals to students that you are approachable and engaged in the day. Avoid sitting behind the desk when students walk in. It can create distance right from the start. Being proactive means noticing and addressing small behaviors before they become bigger issues. For example, if you see side conversations starting, move closer rather than calling from across the room. So when we're saying to arrive to the school before your shift, it's always a great idea to make sure that you are prepared for the day. You're reviewing information before class. Before the students arrive, you look at any provided day plans, the IEPs or seating charts. These documents are bold. They can actually tell you a lot about your day. Ask key questions. So don't be afraid to ask for help. The office staff, the classroom teacher next door, the EAs in the room, can you give you some quick insight? Observe and listen. Even if you don't have full details, you can learn a lot in the first 10 minutes by watching how students interact and respond to instruction. Keep notes, write down what worked well and any challenges you encountered so that the permanent or LTO teacher has a complete picture. So when they return, they can see what happened the day before. Stay flexible. Sometimes the best laid plans don't work well for that day, and have a few backup ideas. So you are not alone. There are a team of people at the school that can help you. The CERT can help with any strategies for students who need learning or behavioral accommodations. Educational assistants often know daily routines and calming techniques for specific students. The office administrator, principal, vice principal can help with safety concerns, discipline issues, or emergencies. If a student refuses to stay in class, never leave the rest of the class unattended. Call the office for help. Know where to find these staff members and how to reach them quickly can save you some valuable time. So let's take a few minutes to share, and hopefully we can kind of write in the chat if that's okay. What's one way you can make students feel safe and respected regardless of the grade level? Think about things that worked in your classroom. Small actions can make a big impact. Does anybody want to share? I think some of our retired teachers would be really great to pop in the chat too, to have any other suggestions. We do have a lot of staff who hadn't gone to Teachers College who are going to be in front of the class and would love some extra tips.
I know that in one of our other training sessions, just to get it started, I know that somebody had mentioned that they Googled some quiet at desk games that they could use. We had somebody else that used to bring in some coloring sheets for younger grades or stickers.
Listen actively to students and responding. Sorry, the chat's just going crazy and I love it. Responding in a positive and respectful way, getting down to their level when speaking to them. As you've already said, make eye contact and greet your students. Listen to them, be positive and welcoming.
I like this one. It says introducing yourself and then saying my favorite hobbies are hiking and yoga. Looking forward to a respectful and positive day together.
So hopefully everybody can read that chat as well so that they can see some other ideas, how to make your day successful. So remember that even if you're with a class for just one day, you can leave a lasting impression on them. You may be the only adult who greets a student kindly that day, and that moment matters more than you know. Thank you for all of the important work that you guys do. Your flexibility, patience, and care do make a huge difference to both the students and the staff.
Excellent. We have another new face at the table, Bobby Whitley. So I will let you introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bobby Whitley. I am the recruitment coordinator here. So I've had the pleasure to speak to some of you, and I look forward to connecting as we go through the new school year. I just want to touch base on some additional classroom tips. So classroom success really comes down to being prepared and adaptable. There may be times when a lesson plan isn't available, so it's important to stay flexible and keep the focus on core subjects. Having a few simple games in your back pocket, like 20 questions or a silent ball, can help keep the students engaged and learning. Another key tip is to always leave clear notes for the classroom teacher, both on what was taught and how the students behaved. It makes a big difference for consistency. If you find yourself finished early, try filling that time with structured activities like trivia, short stories, or quiet work. And finally, having some fillers, as we've mentioned earlier, as Pictionary or Would You Rather, can also be a great way to keep the energy positive while maintaining classroom order. And then on the professional conduct side, as we wrap up, I want to leave a few key practices that really make a difference in our schools. So be friendly, professional in staff areas, and always respect shared spaces by cleaning up after yourselves. Treat every environment as a scent-free and allergy awareness, please. Focus on building positive relationships. First impressions matter, and communicate politely with everyone, including staff, students, and parents. Be punctual and reliable in all your duties, and remember that confidentiality regarding students and school matters is essential. By keeping these practices in mind, we help create a professional, welcoming, and supportive environment for everyone. So thank you for your attention and for the important role that you guys all play in making our school a great place to be.
Excellent.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay, that's the end of our session as far as information that we had prepared. So we are going to wrap up now. Just as a reminder, if you are going to leave, we are going to do a bit of a question and answer session after this, but we will stop the recording shortly after this. If you are leaving, and again, if you are not part of, you didn't log in with a board assigned email address, if you could just plop your name in the chat as well, saying that you've ended, that would be wonderful. We'll put the HR general email address in the chat one more time again, just as a reminder. So after you completed this session and gone and done your health and safety training, we ask that you email the HR general email address, letting that email address know that you've completed both, and then we'll work quite quickly to add a vacancy into SmartFind. The vacancy will be coded as health and safety, and your name will be attached. So please don't delete it or cancel yourself out of it. That's for you to get paid for your health and safety training. So on that note, I'm gonna pause the recording at this point, and then we are here to answer some questions. So thank you, everyone.
It's been great. I feel like we've been answering the questions all along. So if there's anything that we failed to answer as we have gone along, definitely.
I do have one thing just to update. I've gotten a couple questions about not having access to your initials in your SmartFind. You only have access to your initials to update your notifications on auto accept in your desktop version, not